Okay, so long before modern sport invented its blockbuster rivalries, before the Yankees and the Red Sox, before Barcelona and Real Madrid, before India and Pakistan, there was and still is England versus Australia, the Ashes, the original global sporting rivalry. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cricket Capital. This is Faisal Hasnain. Now, today I'm taking you back to the moment cricket's greatest rivalry was born. A rivalry that's older than almost every major contest in world sport. A rivalry that began with a demon bowler, a batting collapse, a newspaper joke, and a small terracotta urn. What a story! And this is how the Ashes was born, and how a single test match back in 1882 created the oldest continuously played international rivalry in sport. Okay, let's get started. So it's August 1882 and England and Australia are playing the 9th test match in history. It's a chilly afternoon at the Oval in London, and England in their second innings need just 85 runs to beat Australia. And 20,000 spectators are watching what they assume will be a simple, straightforward English victory. The bookmakers are offering 60 to 1 on an Australian victory. 60 to 1! That means there's no chance for Australia. That's how certain everyone is that England will win. But in the Australian dressing room, one man, a fast bowler, refuses to accept that foregone conclusion. Fred Spofforth, also known as the Demon, 6'3", imposing, intense, and armed with a glaring stare at the batter, and with a Yorker that could ruin your week, if not your month. But Spofforth's real weapon wasn't pace, it was psychology. He had studied the opposing batters, he had studied baseball pitchers, he varied his pace without changing his bowling action. He had different ball grips for different speeds. England's Billy Barnes famously said, "He weren't a bowler, he were a hypnotist." And with England needing just 85 runs to win, Spofforth tells his teammates those famous words that became legendary. "This thing can be done." And then he went out and he bowled and bowled and bowled. He bowled 28 consecutive overs of fast bowling. Unheard of. What physical and mental energy. Now England with W.G. Grace opening moved to 51 for 2, then to 66 for 4, to 66 for 5, and suddenly the Oval is quiet. There were 12 consecutive maiden overs. There was an atmosphere of fear developing, fear in the 20,000 crowd and in the England dressing room. And the last 5 wickets fell for 11 runs. England are bowled out for 77. Australia win by 7 runs. Their first ever test victory in England. Spofforth finishes with 14 wickets for 90 in the match. He's carried off the field by his teammates and cheered by the sporting English crowd. And the next morning, the Sporting Times published a mock obituary written by Reginald Shirley Brooks. And this is where the Ashes history begins. He writes, "In affectionate remembrance of English cricket, which died at the Oval on 29th August 1882. The body will be cremated and the ashes taken to Australia." Look, it was light satire, a funny Victorian time meme, basically a joke. But everyone loved it. The phrase, "the ashes," spread instantly. It went viral and viral. Suddenly, for the next Test series, England weren't just touring Australia, they were going there to recover the Ashes. A historic rivalry had been named, almost by default, and a sporting tradition was born. And very soon after, England prepared to sail for their return tour to Australia, and their captain, Ivo Bligh, makes a promise that he will beard the kangaroo in his den and try and recover those Ashes. And this is the moment the joke became a mission, an adventure, and a storyline. And cricket's most famous brand was born. And England do win the 1883 Ashes 2-1. And during that tour, a group of Melbourne women, including Lady Janet Clark, present Captain Bligh with a small terracotta urn as a playful gift. Inside it, according to legend, are the ashes of a burnt cricket bale. Now, Bligh kept that urn for the rest of his life, but after his death, his widow donated it to the MCC. And that tiny urn became the most iconic symbol in cricket. And the Ashes, the greatest cricketing rivalry, was officially born. Now, the Ashes hasn't survived 140 years just in memory of that one test match or that urn. It has survived because it sits at the intersection of, firstly, the British Empire and identity. Australia saw beating England as proof of equality. England saw losing the Ashes as a threat to their sporting superiority. Secondly, media power. From the Sporting Times obituary all the way to modern broadcasters, the Ashes series has always been glorified by storytellers and amplified by great performances by legendary superstars on both sides. Thirdly, governance and economics. The Ashes became the most commercially valuable property in bilateral cricket. It impacted touring schedules and the cricket calendar, and impacted the MCC and later the ICC. Fourthly, the cultural theatre. The Ashes created its own legendary storylines, theatre and drama. Bodyline in 1932, Bradman's Invincibles in 1948, Botham's Ashes in 1981, Shane Warne's Ball of the Century in 1993, England and Flintoff in 2005, Stokes' Miracle at Headingley in 2019. Look, there are hundreds of wonderful stories, and each series has its own unique chapter. So, the Ashes is more than just a cricket series. It's a historical and cultural inheritance and a wonderful sporting treasure. It's the rivalry that gave Test cricket its first genuine brand. It's the rivalry that survived wars, politics, and the rise of ODI and T20. It's the rivalry that still fills stadiums and dominates cricket headlines. And to think that it all began 140 years ago with a demon bowler, a batting collapse, a funny obituary, and a tiny urn. And no marketing department could have ever created this script, even with AI. Okay, so class dismissed, but only for today. This is Faisal Hussain on Cricket Capital, and I'll see you soon.